PFT, I was listening to the pod, man. You hit all the right tones. Commanders fans should be thrilled, and I think you are, that Jayden Daniels is the new quarterback.
I'm really excited, man. I haven't been this pumped up since the RG3 draft. I feel like it's going to be good for the team. It's going to be good for the on the field. It's going to be good for all the fans too. It's going to give someone who's instantly energizing to the fan base. And I think who else is going to be really good for it is our boy Tress Way. Tress Way is probably pumped that he's going to have a nice fat check coming his way to get that number 5. He's a big winner. I give Tress Way an A+ for his draft grade last night. Great job, Tress.
I'll pass that along to him.
You know what? He may not have to. Sometimes some guys think about, okay, I'm going into the NFL. I'm gonna change this whole thing and make another era.
Yeah, I think he's
going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Tress will do it. He's a good teammate. I think he's going to be happy to have.
Yeah, he'll be willing to do it for some cheddar.
Yeah.
You know what? Like being a punter with a desirable quarterback number is a pretty nice side hustle in the NFL. If you can find your way onto a team that takes a lot of new quarterbacks, you can make a good amount of money. Like being the punter for the Browns during the 2000s and 2010s was probably pretty profitable for whoever that guy was. But I think Tress is going to be a good guy and give it up for Jayden coming in. So that'll be nice.
Played old Calcutta last night, huh?
Yeah, I think Tress could. I imagine there's a golf course off 29 and 66 in Manassas that I bet could make all this go away. Something like that.
Exactly.
PFT, what do you? I mean, I know you were all in on Daniels. I think you had a future on him to win the Heisman. Like I'm a AWL, so I listen to the podcast. I know how much you guys liked Daniels. I think he comes in immediately and is the best quarterback this team has had since Kirk. Like I think he can hit the ground running. Do you see that similarly?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I think with Cliff Kingsbury, what he was able to do with Kyler and having that running threat from Jayden, I think it's going to be a good, easy fit. And the progression that he's made, he likes to throw the ball downfield too. He's got a great downfield arm.
Yeah.
I think that Cliff is going to be pretty pumped about it. And from everything I've read, I've been reading all the articles this morning, just really reading everybody saying what a good quarterback Jayden Daniels is. Makes me feel better about what we did. But everyone is saying that Jayden is the kind of guy that's ready to step in. Like right now, he doesn't need. Obviously, there will be a learning curve, but the progress that he's made just throughout his college career, which has been a little twisty and turny, but the last year the big steps that he made translate directly into the NFL. And I go to Nick Saban right after the draft saying, like, one of the things about him that impresses Saban the most is that he steps up in the pocket so well, which can take some guys a little time to get comfortable with, a little time to learn. He doesn't like to leak to the outside and step into a defensive end or step into an outside linebacker blitzing. He's already really good at just stepping up in that pocket and then running from there, which gives you sometimes the best angles if you're going to even be running downfield. So I'm thinking that he's ready to go, and I can't wait to watch him. Like this football season is going to be so fun to watch with Jayden.
Yes.
See what I loved about the thing about I watched enough of him playing to where I was already impressed by that. But hearing about his work ethic and the dedication he has and the way he goes early and stays late, not many college students are getting into any damn meeting room at 5 o'clock in the morning on their own. And they damn sure not staying later after practice. But this kid was doing this already. I can only see him taking another step at the next level.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to school in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I might be getting in early, but that's only because I stayed out so late that night. So having a lot of discipline, professionalism like that, I love it. I love it, and I love the cliche like he was the first one in the facility, last one to leave. Brian Kelly was saying that about him. There's probably got to be like 7 guys on each team that are all the first ones in and also the last ones out. But I appreciate the sentiment. I like the fact that he's a hard worker, and you can tell in the steps that he made in his game last year. Like it was night and day compared to years before. And he's just the dude is talented. Anyone can see that. If you combine that with the dedication, the hard work towards it, then I think he has the opportunity to be a really great quarterback. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this whole season. I'm excited for the franchise. I think that this is a very, very positive step.
Hell yes. And I don't know because your brand is so national and different. I don't know that you get caught up in the muck of the divide on some people that didn't want Jayden and wanted somebody else. But I just think people got to chill with that now. He's the pick. Like, it's over. Whatever statistic you want to pull out of the air, I would pull out 40 touchdowns to 4 interceptions.
Yeah. I mean, just look at that. Look at all the ways that he's able to impact the game and how he was not costing LSU games last year. Their defense was atrocious last year. I know it's LSU. Everyone's like, oh, SEC, they've got this reputation. They were one of the worst in the entire country last year. And Jayden Daniels was keeping them in games. I don't want to say single-handedly because he had great wide receivers, obviously. But he was a major part in them being a winning football team last year. They could have very easily been one of the worst teams in the SEC with just an average quarterback, but he was able to keep them in those games, win some close ones, win some shootouts. The dude is awesome. He's a great quarterback. And I don't get kind of into the weeds as much as I'm sure you guys probably had like 3 months of talking about every single quarterback, and people get divided up into these camps. Some people want Drake May, some people want JJ, some people want Penix. If you're the Falcons, I guess maybe one person wants Penix in the first round, Fontenot. But at the end of the day, we got a great quarterback, and I think everyone's going to be very excited about it. If you wanted Drake May, I understand there were some good arguments to be made for Drake May, honestly. I would not have minded Drake May using that pick, but I really did want Jayden. So I'm happy that we got him. I'm sure that even the people that didn't want Jayden are going to come around and back him up and support him. I heard you talking about his mom a second ago about her doing the left hand up after the draft. I love that. She's all in. So it's gonna be so fun. I can't wait for it. And the reality is, like, everybody in the front office for the Commanders, they wanted Jayden. They said nearly unanimous. I think it was probably unanimous, just from the way that it was phrased. And if you look around the league, I think almost every other front office, from what I've heard, had Jayden ahead of Drake May in this draft. So a lot of people kind of they back up what the Commanders are doing. It's not a crazy pick here. It's a great pick. I hope it's a great pick. And this draft for the Part of My Take family was probably the biggest day. The biggest day in the history of Part of My Take, because we got obviously Caleb going number 1 to Big Cats Bears, Jayden to the Commanders, Drake May to Hank's Patriots, and then we had Roma Dunze also going to the Bears. So it's just like a transformative night for the podcast, and it will either drive us apart and make us absolutely hate each other and resent each other, or it might be the start of just like a great me and Big Cat against Hank rivalry where we both root against Hank and Drake May in the NFL. So, the good news is somebody's going to be a bust in the first round. And if it was just going to be those like 3 quarterbacks, maybe a 4th one taken, I would have been nervous. Like, oh, who's going to it's playing Russian roulette here? Who's going to have the bust? But the fact that 6 quarterbacks went in the first 12 picks, now, as long as you don't pick the worst one in that group, then you'll be okay long term. But, it's much harder when you're only looking at 1 out of 3 is going to be a bust.
Where do you think they should put their focus next, PFT?
Offensive line. Give me a big boy. Draft the biggest boy you see out there, and just have him protect Jayden. I would like to see that. That's really where my focus is at right now. I don't know what other positions of need that you guys have circled, but to me, it's like offensive line. Just beef up the line. We need pass rushers, obviously, and if you have like a guy that you have graded as a higher talent and he falls to you at the start of the second round, there, I will live with taking a defensive end or a pass rusher. But to me, the focus has got to be on getting younger up in the trenches. So I want an offensive lineman.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It'd be crazy not to ask you about Kirk going. It's just, I was thinking about this morning. Kirk Cousins is a nice person. He's a little odd. He's a little different, but like somehow he's always in the middle of something wacky. And he signs with Atlanta, and 6 weeks later, they draft a dude in the top 10 to replace him? I mean, that's the reality.
Yeah, it's funny because everybody was like, I hope Kirk Cousins is doing okay. And Kirk is fine.
He's okay. He made over $300 million.
Sure.
Yeah, Kirk's going to be just fine. But it is weird how this all happened to him. And it's only a move that the Falcons can make. I don't know. Michael Penix better not have any like barbecues during training camp, because if players go to Penix's barbecue and don't go to Kirk's, that could create some locker room issues. But in terms of like the situation that Kirk's in right now, he's going to be the starting quarterback this year. But then if there's struggles, is there going to be talk in the offseason of putting Penix in? Like, it's not crazy to think you spent a first-round pick on this. You spent a top 10 pick on this guy. There should be a conversation about if he's ready to start. If he is as good as Kirk Cousins, or he looks as good in practice, he probably should start as early as next season, which is crazy. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you go out and sign Kirk Cousins this offseason and go full court press on him, and then give him a call like while you're on the clock and you're like, hey, Kirk, we're going to take a quarterback. Is that okay? And Kirk's such a nice guy. He's probably like, yeah, the Minnesota nice, like, oh, yeah, sure. That's fine.
But it's a business, though.
Yeah, meanwhile,
the NFL is a business. That's the way Kirk came into the league.
Yeah, exactly. That's the.
He came into the league the exact same way. And let's be real, no one knows how healthy he will be this year. No one knows exactly where that Achilles is until he gets on that field and start playing. So what if something happens to him early? It would be the smartest move in the world.
That's very true. That coming back from Achilles is a roll of the dice. But then, BMitch, I would say, then why are you going to give $180 million to a guy who's in his mid-30s and you're not sure if he's going to be healthy again? I'm not knocking this for Kirk at all. I'm saying, like, in terms of the entire last 3 months for the Atlanta Falcons front office, it doesn't make any sense. Like, this move made no sense for so many different reasons. And when you look into the totality of committing all that money to Kirk, but I did love their spin zone. They had the best spin zone, which was
the spin zone's outrageous. Yeah,
we drafted Penix number 8 because Kirk Cousins is such a good quarterback that we won't have the opportunity to pick a quarterback that high for the next 4 years while he's here, which is such a like weird way of thinking. Like, it makes sense in a weird way, but no team actually operates that way, especially if you have a top 10 pick, especially if you want to take Penix, you probably could have traded back quite a bit and taken him later. And the reason I think the run on quarterbacks happened is because Penix off the board, everybody's like, they smash that panic button. They're like, well, we have to take our quarterback. We got to move. We got to do this now. And then we end up with like Bo Nix going in the first half of the first round, and all those other guys. It was a wild move.
I think if Penix is anything like he was this last year in college, Kirk's deal is a 2-year deal.
You might be right.
Totally.
Because let's be real.
Kirk
Cousins is a nice guy
into the third year
who's made over $300 million. He hadn't really done much more than any damn body else in the playoffs or anywhere else. He has great regular season stats. He's average when it comes to the playoffs.
You might be right, Mitch. And Penix was incredible this year. And if you watched him in the college football playoff, the throws he was making, at least in the semifinal game.
The Texas game, he was unbelievable, yeah.
They were professional throws. They were right on the money. And he does throw off his back foot a little bit, but he's insanely accurate. He still gets good power on his throws off his back foot. And he looked like a great quarterback. He looked like a guy that could be taken the first. I think I said after that game, like, based on this game alone, I would take him in the first round. Obviously, there's a bigger body of work that you have to look at for a guy, but that one game, at least against Texas, was incredible. It was some of the best college quarterbacking I've ever seen in my entire life. So, yeah, there is a chance that he could step up in 2 years. It seems like a weird thing to do, using a top 10 pick on a guy that probably would have been there in the late teens, maybe 20s, maybe second round. We don't know. A lot of teams had, like, a lot of experts had second round grades on. They project him to go like 36, 40, something like that. So it's just a weird move by the Falcons. And at least it gives everybody something to look at and be like, no matter what we did tonight, at least we didn't do that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It just, it was so herky-jerky to sign Kirk and then make that move. One thing that I wanted to, just from listening to part of my take this morning, we're talking about PFT commenter here on the BetQL guest line. Like, you and you are a proxy for all of us in this situation, right? As a lifelong Commanders fan, the quarterbacks here have been awful for a long time. It's been so long since a big move like this actually worked. And Big Cat, as a Bears fan, same boat, if not a worse boat, frankly, when it comes to quarterbacks. And the excitement shared, and then Hank being a New England guy who's like, yeah, I don't get caught up on draft day. Like, I just hope that Washington gets to a point where it's like, all right, they're just good now, and we don't have to deal with all this. Like, draft day isn't the highlight, It's just, it was so funny to hear that perspective from a Patriots fan, and paying it forward. Like, oh my God, what if this? I think the most exciting thing about this, like, you go on a first date and there's a spark, and you don't know what the hell's going to happen, but there's a spark. It feels like drafting Jayden Daniels is a spark.
It's definitely a spark. Yeah. And if I'm Hank and he just got out of like a 20-year committed relationship, he's probably not too excited to be back out there on the streets. Like, the world has changed a lot since you've been in this relationship with Tom Brady for so long.
Right.
But for us, like, we're playing the field, and this looks like it might be something that could be a long-term thing, or at least there's a possibility of it. So in one sense, I kind of envy Hank for not being able to get excited about the draft. You probably in a logical world, you probably shouldn't be this excited about the draft, because it means that something has gone very, very wrong in your past, where you're looking to make this like monumental leap that you're hoping changes the entire face of the franchise. And the odds sometimes are stacked against you in the draft. Like, it's not a sure thing. Nobody's a sure thing. Caleb Williams, not a sure thing. He's probably as close as you can get to it from what I've heard, but none of these quarterbacks are 100% locks. And so I kind of envy Hank's perspective to be more realistic about it and not get too pumped up and let him show you on the field. But I mean, for us, listen, this is as bright as
you tell Hank he's had success. In a long time. His reality was that. Well, we didn't have all that.
For
our reality is totally different than what his reality has been.
Totally.
Yeah. Don't apologize. All the Commanders fans out there, be excited. You should have that little pep in your step. I know a lot of you woke up this morning and you walked to your car to drive to work. You had a little extra bounce in your step because of Jayden. The world's a little bit brighter because we've got a quarterback now that you can get excited about. And by all means, like, lean into that, enjoy that. This is awesome. This is potentially a franchise-changing decision that we made last night, and hopefully he's going to bring just a ton of joy into our lives for the next 10 years. That's what I'm hoping for. And don't let anyone take that joy away from you. It's very rare that we get to feel this optimistic about something. So absolutely enjoy that.
I completely agree. And dude, I was in the room when Adam Peters walked in before the presser actually started, and he joked. Like, you could see he had a pep in his step, despite, I can only imagine the hours of work, and this was midnight. And he's like, you guys doing all right? Not doing as good as me. And he sat down and started answering questions. Like, he was fired up.
Well, man, I was here in Detroit the last time they had the Super Bowl here, and I'm here now for this draft. It's way more pride in Detroit now than it was then.
Yeah.
And I hope it changes like that for Washington as well.
I hope it does too. I really do. And Peters was so excited to get. You know what? I'm gonna say this. I made my big board, and I had my prospects ranked. I watched every single snap of the entire college careers for every single player in this draft, and I actually had Jayden Daniels ranked ahead of Caleb Williams on my big board.
Now we're talking.
I was really hoping the Bears were going to take Caleb Williams and not Jayden Daniels. I lucked out. I'm very excited about that. So I got my number one top guy that I had, number one overall. And I guess maybe it's a good thing that Drake May was so good at Topgolf, because then Adam Peters was like, well, this guy spends a lot of time on the golf course. I don't know if we want him. Let's go with Jayden on this one. So I'm happy that all worked out.
All right, best moment in the draft last night. Olu Fashanu's mom boxing out his girlfriend, even when the girlfriend tried to grab the goods, or the player's mom was asked, "How far did your family come?" And she said, "We came from Baton Rouge, Louisiana."
Yeah, mom stole the draft last night. I love Fashanu's mom just being like, "No, stop, hands off the merchandise." She was really going for it too,
dude.
The girlfriend
she went for it.
Yeah, she was diving in hard. Good for her. I think draft night is a time where it should be like the mom, dad, brother, sister. If you got a college girlfriend that you've been seeing for a little bit, it's cool if she's in the room. But I think you have to have the talk ahead of time expectations.
Sometimes those girlfriends they show who they really are, then mama be like, okay, she got to go.
Yeah, you have to have that talk where be like, hey, listen, I like you. We've had a good time. We've gone to Applebee's several times. I've enjoyed myself on every occasion. But the people that raised me, I'm going to have them sit next to me, and you can stand in the background and you can take pictures and clap politely. But let's not try to get to third base on national TV as I'm getting drafted.
There's 5 letters that I want to say for what was attempted, but I don't know that I'm allowed to say those 5 letters in a row, so I will not say them.
Do not.
Does it start with an O?
It starts with an O and ends in a J. I'll say that much.
Okay, yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Careful.
Dude, last thing. I know you got to run. I really appreciate you making time for us. One, BMitch was in Detroit last night, and a bunch of fights broke out in a deli. I thought you'd appreciate to know that.
Wasn't a deli, JP. I told you in a casino.
When you were in a deli, you said there were fights.
The
but
deli
the deli
was right
was in the casino. Right. A deli in a casino. And a bunch
so
of
it wasn't in the deli. You got to get the right information. You take my stories and change them up all the time.
I've been to the deli that's inside the casino. Yeah.
Yes.
I've been there in Detroit. It's that is a place where I would expect to see a fight break out.